I thought this was interesting. We were talking about Twitter a little bit earlier. Black Twitter is a thing. A lot of people know Black Twitter for the funny hot takes. They know Black Twitter for people getting entertained by versus rap battles. The play-by-play on shows like Insecure. We talked about that in our pre-show. You know, um, a lot of people know Black Twitter for it to be a place where people to just be entertained. But a doctoral student by the name of Shamika Klassen at the Colorado University of Boulder conducted a study between April and May of 2020, analyzing over 75,000 tweets and even interviewing 18 Black Twitter users. Clausen compares the findings to serving a similar purpose as the Green Book. For those who don't know, the Green Book was pretty much almost like a atlas
Mm-hmm.
for people back in Jim Crow days, Black
Mm-hmm.
folks specifically, to give them almost like a guide to where they can go, where they can eat, where they can sleep, where they can rest
Get
and relax,
gas,
get
have
gas,
fun. Yeah.
without worried about being, approached or even harmed. Again, this is Black folks back in, Jim
50s,
Crow
60s.
days,
Yeah.
to where, it was kind of dangerous being out at night as an African American. So what she did was she kind of studied all of these tweets, interviewed these people, and she discovered that the platform wasn't utilized solely to share memes, but also to request safe suggestions for lodging, places to eat without being side eyed, not necessarily harmed, but not side eyed, and which professionals to book in which areas. So again, it kind of shifted from, okay, where can I go to where I won't get attacked?
Mm-hmm.
To, okay, where can I go to where I can be my authentic self and not have to worry about, code switching, without having to worry about, acting a certain way at a restaurant. I can be me. I can be around others like me, because that's the way I would see it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, where do Black people go in this city?
Yeah.
Where do Black people, eat? And, where do we party? Where do we, relax?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Black Twitter, in addition to sharing memes and play by play on popular shows, it actually can be a rich, deep, meaningful community of people. So I just thought that was interesting. And then I wanted to ask you, what is your perception of Black Twitter? Or what do you use it for the most?
So, Black Twitter definitely is fun, especially when it comes to clowning somebody who has earned that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely when it comes to versus shows, um, uh, award shows, those type of things. It's definitely a good time to be had. But I have also noticed that people do ask, um, we talked about Black Tech Twitter last week. A lot of people have found
Mm-hmm.
jobs through that hashtag. People have, references, hey, I'm going to this city. I haven't been there before. Any good, spots that, Black folks can go and, have a good time. So it again, it's one of those things where we have to make our way in whatever space we find ourselves in. People
Mm-hmm.
like to think that we've progressed so far since
Mm-hmm.
the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, even the 70s, and we have not. We've seen it, just last week with the Ahmaud Arbery case. We've seen how Black people just existing, doing normal everyday things that every other race does, but being, for lack of a better term, lynched for it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where people like to think we've come so far. And granted, we have made progress, but not enough progress where we can fully just be Black people out in the world. We always have to look over our shoulder. We always have to be aware of our surroundings, and we always kind of have to be on guard unless we are around, quote unquote, our people. And so what I think Black Twitter does, it can provide that. It definitely provides a safe haven on social media, because we've
Mm-hmm.
seen, with the way they're doing spaces now. I mean, was it earlier this week, the spaces that were popping
Right.
up are Black
Yeah.
women to public. I mean, it's just ask a white supremacist, change my mind about black people. Why are they so? I mean, it's just those type of things. Even on this app, we've
Hmm.
had to find a place of comfort so
Hmm.
that we could enjoy the social media space where we could find community in a space that includes everybody because of historically the way we've been treated and the way we're being treated right now. So it kind of is a microcosm of where we are outside of the social media space, having to find a space just for us within a larger space to ensure that we are safe, to ensure that we can enjoy ourselves unfettered, to find places even offline to commune with each other and that's safe for us to be in. So it makes perfect sense that Black Twitter has fortunately evolved into this because when it first started, it was just to roast people. And
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
was a good time. But I'm glad that we've been able to build this sort of community where we can laugh and have fun, but also be a safe haven and provide advice and instruction for us as well. So
Yep, yep. I mean, it was a matter of time. Again, like you
yeah,
mentioned, Twitter as a whole, can feel different depending on who you are. So it's natural for people to create safe spaces in the digital world, which would then also translate into the actual physical world because it
hmm
is a difference. You know, I'm not I'm not saying when I go on Twitter or when I'm just looking for a black owned restaurant, I'm not looking to say I don't want to be around white people. That's not what I'm saying.
right.
What I'm saying is I feel more comfortable around people who look, talk, speak, act like me, and
And
I should
it's
have that.
will accept me as well.
And in addition to that, I should that should be my right just as much as it is your right without you even having to ask. You have spaces to where people, the owner, the employees, the patrons, all the people you feel safe in that space. We deserve that same right. Now it may look different because I have to specifically request that, but the end result is still the same.
This is
I
the
want to
same.
feel safe, so do you. You should respect that. So we have to build spaces like Black Twitter, and as a result, we use services, platforms, social communities like that in real life as well.
And it's one of those things where if you know, you know, because I remember when Black Twitter, the name of Black Twitter started floating around, people thought it was a separate app. How do I get on Black Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Black Twitter? It's one of those things is if you know, you
Right.
know.
Which is, I mean, that's how it's supposed to. I
That's
mean,
how it's supposed to be because you
not
don't
just
want
Black.
interlopers to come in and completely change the dynamic where we have to change the black Twitter or something else. So
And it's not even just. I think it's almost like a weeding out to where
mhm.
it's like it should be you have to put in some work to discover it. You
Mm,
should have to know somebody to know somebody. You
right.
have to know what time of day you have to be on, or you have to know what
What
topics.
type of events that are
Right,
going on to
right. I
even know
mean,
to even be online?
right. That in and of itself is, it's a community. It's a
Yeah.
community, and that's one of the bright spots of social media because people create, and or find their communities.
Yep.
But they just got to go with all the other crap that goes along with
Exactly.
it.
Because it can be a cesspool, like
Right.
everything else.